Is the Acer 2025 Swift AI16 the kind of machine that actually upgrades your gaming experience? Or is it just a flashy piece of tech you'll regret after a few weeks? Who should reach for it, who should walk away, and does the price make sense for a regular buyer who just wants solid performance without breaking the bank? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the biggest question most of us have when we see a high-end laptop. Will it really run today's games at the settings I care about, and will it stay cool enough to be usable for a full session? The Swift AI16 packs an 8-core Intel Core Ultra 7 that sits on the same tier as the latest desktop chips, paired with Acer's own 256-core Arc graphics. In real-world testing, that combination holds its own in titles like Cyberpunk 2077 or Elden Ring when you dial the resolution down to 1080p and crank the settings to high-medium. You'll see buttery frame rates in most AAA releases, but you won't be maxing out the OLED's native 2880x1800 resolution while maintaining 60 frames per second. That's a trade-off you'll hear a lot. The screen is gorgeous, but the GPU still feels the pressure when you push the native pixel count. For gamers who love the visual fidelity of a 4K OLED and are okay with a slight dip in performance, it's a win. If you need raw FPS at every setting, a dedicated desktop or a laptop with a higher-tier GPU would be more honest. Heat and fan noise are the next practical concerns. The Ultra 7 is powerful, and Acer's cooling system does a respectable job of keeping temperatures in the 80-90 range under load. The fans spin up noticeably, producing a whirring that you'll definitely hear in a quiet room. It's not a scream-like roar, but it's enough that you'll want to keep the volume turned up in your headset or use a desk fan if you're sensitive to noise. In short, the machine stays functional, but you won't be able to claim it's whisper quiet while grinding through a marathon gaming night. If a silent environment is a priority, think late-night gaming in a shared apartment. This might be a deal-breaker. Now, let's talk about the display because that's where the Swift really shines. The 16-inch OLED panel delivers 2880x1800 pixels, 100% DCI-P3 color gamut, and a crisp 350 nits of brightness. In practice, you'll notice deep blacks and vivid colors that make both games and media pop. The touchscreen adds a layer of flexibility for creative work. Imagine sketching concepts in Photoshop or navigating through a UI without touching a trackpad. However, OLEDs can be power-hungry, and paired with a high-performance GPU, you'll see battery life dip to around 4 to 5 hours if you're gaming or editing on the go. For everyday tasks like browsing or watching videos, you'll stretch closer to 7 hours, but you'll still be reaching for the charger more often than you would with a lower resolution panel. If you need all-day unplugged usage, the battery trade-off may feel steep. Keyboard feel is another angle that separates a good gaming laptop from a great one. The Swift's Fullsize Backlit keyboard includes a numeric keypad, which is a rarity in 16-inch laptops. The keys have a decent amount of travel and a tactile bump that feels satisfying for both typing and rapid key presses in fast-paced shooters. The backlighting is uniform, and you can toggle between multiple brightness levels, which helps when you're gaming in a dim room. The numpad is handy for spreadsheet work, but it does push the left-hand side a bit farther from the mouse, so you might need to adjust your hand positioning. Overall, the keyboard is comfortable enough for long sessions, but it isn't a mechanical-type feel that hardcore esports players sometimes demand. Port selection and connectivity are often overlooked until you actually need to dock or attach peripherals. This Acer model comes with 2 Thunderbolt 4 USB-C ports that double as DisplayPort outputs, an HDMI 2.1 port, and Wi-Fi 7 for ultra-fast wireless speeds. In practice, that means you can run a 4K external monitor at 120 Hz while keeping the laptop's own display active, which is great for a dual-screen workflow. The Wi-Fi 7 capability is future-proof, though most home routers haven't caught up yet, so you'll likely be on Wi-Fi 6 for now. Bluetooth 5.4 is solid for wireless headphones or controllers. The only downside is the lack of a dedicated Ethernet port. You'll need a USB-C dongle if you want a wired connection for competitive gaming. That's a minor inconvenience, but worth noting if you're particular about latency. Port.